Welcome to another episode of Love Living Local 315. We are your hosts, Scott and Kelly Greats, and today we are joined by Melisa Dervisevic, a family nurse practitioner turned women's wellness coach who helps women and others heal from anxious attachment, build confidence, and step into their most secure, empowered selves. After overcoming her own struggles with self-worth and relationships, Melisa is now on a mission to help others break free from toxic patterns and step into their positive energy. We can't wait for you to enjoy this deep, meaningful conversation that Kelly and I had with Melisa. All right, Melisa, you transitioned from, correct me if I'm wrong, family nurse practitioner to building your own coaching business.
Yes, I did.
What inspired that?
So I think about this a lot, actually, and I'm like, what really inspired me to do that? And it really comes down to me. I feel like I inspired myself. I allowed myself to step out of the box that I created for myself. And I allowed myself to do something that I'm passionate about versus something that I thought I had to be.
Talk to me about the created for myself. That's always interesting. So you set out to be a nurse practitioner, I'm guessing. Not easy to do. Not easy to get into, right? And so you said you created this box. What does that mean to you?
So I created this life for myself, and I said, okay, I was going to become a nurse practitioner. Not that I didn't enjoy being a nurse practitioner. That's still, I'm very passionate about helping people. I just went for it and said that I was going to do something that was going to make me successful. It was going to bring me money and bring me the success that I thought that I was going to get from being an NP.
Yeah.
So you specialize in helping women, but we just had a brief conversation before this saying that men can also very much benefit from what you are doing. So are you using like coping mechanisms? Like what is it that you're doing?
So what I'm doing in my coaching program is teaching women how to manage their anxiety.
Okay.
How to manage this anxious attachment that they have. And this normally stems from childhood, right? It stems from early on, and we don't even know, right? It happens, and it doesn't mean that you had a bad childhood. It just means that either one or both parents didn't meet a specific need that you had. And they may not even be aware that they didn't meet that need. So you, in your mind, develop this, feeling of, I'm not good enough, right?
See, and what I struggle with, what I have the most anxiety about is being a parent. Because I know this, that we are shaping them, really, like giving them an environment to grow up in. And it's such a huge burden because what if we don't do it perfect? I feel like there is no perfect parent, though, you know?
So I will go back to just what I was saying. In childhood, right, you develop this, like you have to be perfect.
Right.
So where does that come from? That comes from, like I said, that basic need that you had. And so you try to transform and mold yourself into the person that you think that person or your parents need you to be. So you almost like separate yourself from your authentic self to be somebody that you're not. So then perfectionism, people pleasing, all of this, like not setting boundaries is because you spend your life trying to please others. And so like in your case, being a perfect parent. So my question to you is, well, where does that come from?
Yeah, like why do I have this feeling that I need to be like this?
We need you to answer that.
Yeah, so that's a question for you.
Where does it come from?
I don't know where it comes from. Just I feel like it's expected of me.
From who?
I don't know from who.
So that's how we're coaching you.
Yeah. And I'm constantly comparing myself to other people, and I hate that. And I tell myself not to do it, but I still continue to do it all the time.
Yeah. So, I mean, that, like, I don't want to say, right away, this is what's going on with you, that's what's going on. So that's deep-rooted, right?
Yeah.
It's that deep-rooted feeling of I'm not good enough. I have to compare myself to somebody else because what they have or, how they look or whatever it is, the kind of parent they are is better than me.
Yeah.
And when I work through my clients, we work on really getting to know who they are. I bring them back. I like to call it bringing them back home, connecting them to who they are at their core, and then we build from there.
Okay, so a session. Are you working with me alone?
Yes, it's a one-to-one session.
Okay.
Privately.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is this different? You're not a psychologist,
Not a
psychiatrist,
therapist.
Nope. What makes you qualified to do this?
So I got certified to do it.
This is deep. This is, already in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
My mind is on overload because
I'm analyzing myself right now.
Yeah, and we all deal with it, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes we know why, sometimes we don't. I'm very open about sharing. I didn't have a bad childhood. My mom always gets, and this probably adds another layer of complexity. My mom's always like, oh, the way you talk or the things you write, you think we're the worst parents ever. And like she takes offense to it. And they were both very loving parents, not to each other, but that's a whole different story. They did get divorced. But growing up, if I scored, I'm talking like 6, 7, 8 years old, like if I scored 3 goals in an ASO soccer game and we lost 4-3, like my father was very open with, I should have done more. I could have done better. That it was focused on the goal I missed, not the one I made. And that became a serious issue for me. And then later in life had to start still probably unpacking that because I'm always like perfectionism, not enough, outcome based. So I don't even know if there's a question in there, but now I guess I'll lean on you because I'm sure this is common, you know?
Oh my God, that's like such a good example. And when I initially started doing this, I was a little resistant too, because same thing. I don't want to say that I had a bad childhood. I didn't. I had a great childhood. My mom was a single mom and she's my hero. Like I love what she did, everything she did for us. She sacrificed her life to bring us here. But what I learned was that she did the best she could with the tools she had. So, and that's a great point. Like looking back, I actually, now that I did this work, I have more love and respect from my mom than I ever did. Where a lot of people, they blame their parents for the way they are. Yes, your parents did the best they could. So at some point, you have to grow up and start learning and doing the work yourself. We know more now. So like you said, unpacking all of that, learning that, and I could resonate so much with that. It's, they're always pushing us to do more, which is great. But at some point, when is it enough? When is it enough? And when are you going to recognize what the child is doing? I remember, and you put all this pressure on yourself. When I was in nursing school, I had to get A's. I had to get A's. And I would kill myself to get those A's. For what?
Yeah.
For what? I graduated and I was a great nurse. I was a great nurse practitioner. Is anybody going to look back and say, but the anxiety you have, with studying for the exams and, I can't eat or whatever it is, but it's just not a good feeling.
Yeah.
And we do this all the time.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
My last daddy issue, and then we'll move on.
But it's not about you.
So far, I've coached both of you guys.
Yeah, that's the only. I told you before we hit record. We
I
do
was
this
super excited about this
selfishly because we need help, right? and so we find people for free that we otherwise wouldn't have. But anyway, how much of it is around forgiveness? And this for me, and what you hit on, like so hits home with the whole. They did the best with what they knew. And at the time, I didn't realize it. But now later in life, I realized, like, yeah, my dad was like that. Look at the way he was raised. Exactly. Look at the environment he was in. Look at the career he had. Like, he was doing what he thought was the best to push and challenge and raise us the way he knew how. So later in life, it really was empowering for me to be able to forgive him. And so I guess how much of it, we talk about forgiving ourselves, but how much of it goes back to forgiving your parents, even if they're gone, or grandparents, or whoever.
Yeah, it's huge. It's actually a piece of so if you want, I could talk about my coaching program. I split it in 3 parts. The first part is building emotional intelligence, and that's when we do a deep dive into the person. And it's exactly what you just mentioned. One, it's getting to know, like I said, who you are at the core. What is important to you? What are your values? And in doing that is when we get to know all this, bad stuff you went through, but we also get to know the good stuff you went through. So we just, like I said, deep dive into who you are. And forgiveness and acceptance is huge in this part. And it's basically like saying, okay, this is what happened to me. This was my life, and I'm ready to close that door. You have to let that go if you want a better future for yourself. And some people, unfortunately, allow their past to continue, showing up. I always say, I think at everybody's point in their life, at some point in your life, you're going to face yourself. You're going to face your demons. And whether you want to look at yourself in the mirror and make the changes, or you want to numb what is coming up for you, Those are the only two options we have. And I chose to face myself. I chose to face my demons and work through them. And that's what inspired me to be, who I am today and where I am right now.
And for me, like what you said that just hit home is like at the beginning, what is important to you and what are your values? And I feel like as a woman who has children and a husband and a career, you lose sight of that. So for you to even ask me that right now, I would have to take a long, hard thought on what is really important to me. Scott asks me this all the time. Like, what is your number one? What do you want to be most successful at? What is your focus going to be? Like, he will sit down and he is so good at like making a vision board and this is what I want to accomplish. Like we sat down in January. What do we want to accomplish for the year? And for me, it's tough. A lot of it is driven towards other people.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. And so I go back to the anxious attachment is because that woman loses herself.
Yes.
That woman loses herself in the relationship. That woman loses herself in her career. So she sacrifices herself to make sure that everybody else is happy. Well, that's great, but I am an advocate for the woman having her own sense of self because I know what it feels like to lose yourself. Give so much, no matter how good the person is, right? You're with a partner, whether it's a healthy partner or unhealthy. If you keep giving, that person's going to get used to, and they're just going to keep taking from you.
Right.
At one point, then you look back and you're like, okay, now I built all this resentment and I don't even know who I am. What do I like to do? What are my hobbies?
Right.
So I think for a woman, it's so important. And I look at this and I look back and it all makes sense because I've been coaching everybody around me my whole life and not even knowing it. No matter what point in my life it was good or bad, I helped like my sister and my best friend. And I just coached them because I wanted so much more for them. My mom, I would push her to do better because I think women are so just amazing. I think we're amazing. And I think we lose that. We lose that light as we get in a relationship and we cater to the man, no offense.
None taken.
And the
we
children.
need catering.
They need help at times.
They need help,
Yes.
right? But we also need help.
I know.
We need help and we need that balance. We need that man to step up and help us where we can, focus on our dreams and goals and hobbies and whatever it is.
Well, and it's so funny. A couple of things come to mind. I mean, I love TikTok. I lost it. But like one of my favorite reels was like, all right, you see this woman and somebody says you need to stop trying to do everything. And she turns and goes, well, who the heck is going to do it? And as mothers, as partners, we try to do so much. But now I'm dealing with my one son is away at college. My other son is going away this year. Pretty soon, Jenna is going to be, and then I'm left with me and who am I? Like, I really don't feel like I even know that because I've been giving so much to them for the past 18 years. It's amazing. I need to book an appointment.
So it's funny. Going back, I never even made it through my coaching program, but in the first part that I talk about, a lot of the women that I work with are exactly like that. We're go-getters. We're career-driven women that are used to going. Mm-hmm. What I teach them is to slow down. Yes. Slow down. Get to know yourself. You know how uncomfortable women are when you tell them to sit in silence? I was the same way. I couldn't even sit in silence. Now I just be. Our energy is like, our feminine energy, our superpower is your intuition. We can't listen to our intuition when we're so busy running around, constantly on the go and, showing off. Oh, I have 3 jobs. I make all this money.
Right. That's
not what true happiness is.
Yeah.
True happiness is slowing down, enjoying every moment, being present. And I like not saying that's the case, but like your happiness shouldn't be dependent on others or whatever you have, whatever objects or money or whatever it is. Your true happiness is just you. It comes
and I'm going
to
to say one more thing. And I love this, that you're working like through emotions, through conversation, and it's not just a pill.
No.
Because that is the direction that so many nurse practitioners or physicians are going in is I can give you this happy pill and it takes away all that anxiousness and anxiety, but it doesn't. You're just masking it.
That's numbing it. And that's what I talked about in the beginning. you have to face yourself.
Yep.
You have to feel those
Your true self, not your medicated
emotions.
self.
Right.
Right.
You have to feel those emotions. Let them come out. You're going to feel them. I don't care if you're a man or a woman, you're going to have emotions. They're going to come up. What you do with them, it will matter how the outcome is. So if you decide you want to numb it with whether it's alcohol, whether it's pills, whether it's exercise, whatever it is, it's still numbing it.
Mm-hmm.
I teach you how to slow down, feel your emotions, know what you're going through, like accept it.
Yeah.
Right? Accept your situation and release.
Go ahead. I did a lot of talking.
I'm going to logistically try to keep us on track here. We asked one question, by the way. I think that's the only question that we'll probably ask. You mentioned there's 3 parts to your coaching program.
Yes.
I wrote down EI, emotional intelligence. Did we get to 2 and 3?
No.
Okay, let's talk about that.
So part 2, so now we got to know you. That's part 1. Part 2 is creating healthy relationship patterns. So this is where we do a lot of mind work. So emotions is first piece. Second piece is your limiting beliefs. It's the negative thoughts that run in your mind. So I will bring it back to your childhood again, whether it was childhood or life experience, whatever it is. These limiting beliefs were formed in the back of your subconscious mind. So logically, as a woman, you want a healthy relationship. You know what kind of man you want. But on a subconscious level, you may not feel like you deserve that man. You may feel like you're not good enough for that man. So what will happen is you're going to attract men that are going to show up the way you think. So if you believe all men are cheaters, you're going to attract cheaters. Mm-hmm. If you believe, bad things are going to happen to you, bad things are going to happen to you. So it's the energy that you're putting out. So what I do is I work with these women in coming up with these limiting beliefs. So while we're coaching, I am recognizing the limiting beliefs that she has. And then we take a whole list of all her limiting beliefs. It's usually like a handful of them. And it always shows up in different ways in your life. And then we take those negative beliefs and we turn it into a positive, like more, positive, fulfilling beliefs that she's going to have. And that's how she's going to start, growing her mindset and changing into a better lifestyle that will attract better things for her, right? Mm-hmm. So we take her from like a scarcity mindset to abundance mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. And then in doing that, that's where she could start creating these healthy patterns, attracting better men, improving her relationship if she is in a relationship, creating boundaries. How are you going to create boundaries when you don't even know who you are or what you want? So that's very important. So that second piece is, I like to call it subconscious reprogramming. That's what we do. Identifying red flags, because now you know who you are. You know how certain things make you feel. You know the thoughts that come into your mind. Mm-hmm. You know that certain thoughts are holding you back from living the best life that you could. So we work on changing that.
Okay.
So that's
part 2.
Part 2, and we'll get into 3, but just real quick, I mean, that's my jam, right? I can, if I were to look at I'm almost 50, my entire career, I can single out when everything changed. And it's when, you can have whatever thoughts, the audience, around manifestation, the law of attraction, thoughts become things. But when I read the book, The Secret, it was 2007. And it was the first time that I realized this was even a thing, where the thoughts in your head become the things in your life, good or bad, and you don't even realize the things you're manifesting half time. So it's this conscious awareness, and then diving into when I made that flip of the switch, so to speak, into believing I was worthy of things. I wasn't that kid who lost the soccer game at the age of 6. Like, I can do things. And then your lens changes and you start to see opportunities differently. Not like that's for someone else. No, that's for me, and then the next level is like, I can even take that opportunity to the next level. And then this abundance, just starts happening. Not easy to do, but the work you're doing is amazing in step 2.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's definitely not easy and it requires work. And I always tell my clients, my coaching program will work if you want it to work. If you're not going to wake up and these thoughts just go away. And somebody like an anxious attached woman, the thoughts in her mind is, if she's with a partner, is he's going to leave me? That's one of the major ones, is they have a fear of rejection and somebody leaving them. So they're overthinking, constantly, he's going to leave me, he's cheating on me. Or so if they get a man and he's a good man, they're going to sabotage that relationship because they can't control the thoughts in their mind. And that's what we work on, getting them to change. And I am worthy of love. I am worthy of love and a good man, and I'm going to attract, even if they don't believe it. Like, I'll have them say that to me, and they feel so uncomfortable even saying that. Like, good men exist.
Right. I deserve this. Right.
I deserve a loyal man. And it's like, it's so hard for them to say that. And then we just keep doing that. And that's how you reprogram the mind.
And then step 3.
Step 3 is you tapping into your feminine energy and shifting into a secure attachment style. So now I always go back. So, we get to know who you are. Now we reprogram these thoughts. We went from negative to positive thoughts. Now we're going to shift you into secure attachment. So now you're so grounded that anybody's absence or presence doesn't really affect you. And I know this sounds kind of weird, but being in a situation where you're like with a partner and you're like, I love you. I love you. I want to be with you. But if we don't work out, I'm good.
I'm still going to be okay.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Right. And it could be the same thing with let's say, like kids. Like, of course, I love my kids. But if they decide, they want to go away to college or whatever it is, like, I'm good. I'm good because I'm secure in myself. I trust myself to handle any situation that comes my way, whether it's my job or my relationship or whatever it is. You're just secure in yourself. And the feminine energy I bring up a lot is because these women that I work with, and it goes back to, I could do it by myself. Because these women learned early on that, one, they can't trust men. They build up this wall. And so they meet a guy and they immediately repel them because they have this, I don't need anybody. They walk around talking about, I don't need a man in my life. I'm okay. I could do it all by myself. But deep down inside, there's nothing more they want than a man that is going to step in and help them. Who wouldn't want a great man in their life, right? To help them with the chores and help them with the kids and help them and have a partner.
Even a partner. Like, not even a man-woman relationship, but I'm sure that this is just to have
Correct.
a partner.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you tap into your feminine energy, and I'm not talking about specifically the woman has to do, these are her roles, these are the men's roles. I'm talking about the woman just letting her guard down, allowing love to come in. When you have this bridge up and you have this wall up, nothing could come through. Whether it's success, success, whether it's money or love, it's the same exact thing. You're blocking everything. But when you tap into your feminine energy and you lean back and you let go of control, you surrender. You surrender to what is, love will come in.
What does this look like as far as the delivery of what you offer? So in my mind, I'm picturing people laying down on the couch, old school, traditional, therapy, but you do retreats, workshops. Like, what does that look like for people to get involved with you? How do you meet? How often do you meet?
So for them to work with me?
Yeah.
So I always give them the option of how they want to do it. If they're local, if they want to do face-to-face, that's completely fine. Most of my clients prefer phone call. So it's 1 hour once a week. And I think it works best when I did coaching myself. That's how I did it too. It works best because it allows you to be really vulnerable with somebody and let your guard down without somebody staring at you. So we do phone call. And 1 hour, we go through the coaching, and then I have them do, assignments in between.
And how often do you meet?
Once a week.
Once a week. Okay.
Okay, so healing can be a lifelong journey. I'm sure you have some women that are like, I so look forward to this 1 hour a week. It makes me a better person. Are there people that you just continue to coach that just need it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's not like a fix, like you're going to fix me and then I'm done.
No, healing, like you said, it's a lifelong journey. You're always going to learn more about yourself, and different situations are going to come up that are going to trigger you. What I do is I bring awareness and I teach them all these things, but I give them the tools. Okay. So it's like I give them this little toolbox with all these tools in it. And then you could use those tools anytime something happens in your life. let's say, you get triggered in your relationship. You go to this toolbox to help you soothe, right? Self-soothe, so that way you're not depending on your partner to help you with these emotions that you have to control yourself. And after they get done working with me, let's say we do the 3 months, they want to continue. I usually offer, if they want to continue. But what happens is, after they get done with me, they either follow me on Instagram. I've actually had my clients come out and say, like, they're doing a lot better, but even like my posts, it's a nice reminder, right? It's a nice reminder. Like, you'll have setbacks.
Yep.
So when you have setbacks, you have those tools and you have, access to me whenever.
Nice.
That way.
It sounds like a lot of work. You must be like exhausted.
I'm not. I'm not. I love it.
Yeah, you can tell just by the way you're smiling that this is your mission.
No,
and it's your passion.
I love it so much. I'm learning about myself. I'm healing as I'm doing the work with them. And I think you mentioned that in the beginning, and it's so rewarding. The NP world was so different because it was like, yes, I wanted to do it because I want to help people, but this is a whole other level of helping people. And when you see them and you see how thankful they are, just after like one session, it lights me up. It literally is everything.
I want to shift gears. Your focus. We've talked a lot about women. We talked about relationships. You did mention early that it's not just women, right? It can be men. And then I'm in the business world. I work with sales professionals on a daily basis. And probably the biggest thing that I see holding them back is that confidence, right? They say
self-talk.
Negative self-talk, belief, right? Like, I'm not ready, I'm not confident enough, I'm not, but it all goes back to I'm not worthy, and rejection or failures from the past and all the things you talked about. And it's okay to say no to this, and we can just edit it out if that's the case. But do you work like could we have a collaboration? Like, could you work with people in the business world to help them see? Because you also mentioned outcomes, right? We're so tied to we're salespeople. We're goal focused and just tied to outcomes, and sometimes we lose sight of the journey and the things that matter that are preventing us from hitting those outcomes. So, do you work with the business world, the corporations?
I currently do not, but it's funny you bring that up because I actually was talking to a friend and I said, I could see myself doing that. I could see myself transitioning, doing a little bit of both because I know what it's like. If it shows up the same way. When I talk about the issues, like you said, the perfectionism, holding yourself back, not being secure and confident. These are all the things that showed up in my life in different areas of my life. So when you work on the core issue, all areas improve. Yeah. So it makes sense. It always comes down to, like you said, if you're struggling at work with money and feeling like you're not good enough and, getting a promotion or taking the next step or whatever it is, and we fix the problem, then yes, all of that is going to improve. But I am also very passionate about that too. And like, I want to see people win. That's what it comes down to. And I always see people, like I'll talk to, like my brother started his own business and my fiance, and I'm always like giving them advice. I'm like, you should do this. I'm like pushing them. I'm like, I could see this for you.
Even group workshops. And so people have a community to say, I'm not the only one that feels like this. It would be super
powerful. Are you offering
offering
retreats? Do you have retreats?
So I just did on there, I did that NP retreat. I got invited to be the keynote speaker, and it was just so amazing because I was able to take my two worlds and kind of combine them and talk about something that I'm so passionate about to healthcare professionals. And after doing that, I didn't realize how much it resonated with them and how much they enjoyed it. So after I left, I'm like, I need to start doing this more often. So actually, I was thinking about putting something together for the nurses and nurse practitioners, even if it's like a 1 day, 4 hours or 8 hours, and just focus on, teaching, but also focusing on having fun and letting them just enjoy a day for themselves. Because like you mentioned, we forget we don't pencil in time for ourselves.
You forget what makes you happy.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to be like that reminder, right? Don't forget yourself in the mix of career and relationships.
So your family, let's talk a little bit about family and living here in central New York now. You immigrated from Bosnia when you were 6 years old.
Yep.
Do you love central New York? Do you love where you live now?
I do.
Well, I'm just saying it's interesting. Like when I don't know, like how drastically different it must be.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, night and day. Because when I go back to Bosnia, it's like, oh my God. We have no idea how well we have it here because they are so behind. Like, I went to a gas station and ordered iced coffee, and they looked at me like I was crazy. And I was like, it's iced coffee.
Yeah.
But the opportunities we have here, the life we have here is just so different. And I think that every time I go back, when I come back here, I'm like, I'm so like thankful that I'm here, and for my mom for bringing us here, because it's a whole different lifestyle and people don't even know. But as time goes on, I forget where I came from.
So is this the only place that you've lived in the United States?
Yes. So we came to Utica. Yep, we came to Utica, and we've been here. And my mom, which was a single mom, 4 kids. We didn't really travel much, so we stayed. All I knew was Utica. I didn't even know there was life outside of Utica. And then I grew up and went to school, and I was like, I want to travel more. Like, there's more things to see. So definitely want to start like doing more. And with my kids, I want to show them more. But yeah, I love Utica. I mean, I think we've come a long way. I love the people here. I love the mix of everybody. I love the different cultures, the different languages. That makes me so happy.
Well, we travel a ton too, and I feel like that's important so that your children and we always come back and we're thankful for what we have here when you travel to other places.
All right, so if people can take away just one thing from this conversation, what would your hope be? Like your message of hope, of inspiration, that one key takeaway?
I would say don't run away from yourself. Things that are coming up, they're coming up for a reason. If I could tell anybody anything, is to face these challenges and let go of the past in order for you to have a better and brighter future.
How do people connect with you? How do they work with you?
They could find me on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram, Radiant Life by Melisa is my business name.
Okay.
And email, of course.
Do you want to share it?
Yeah.
We'll link it.
It's
Jay
pretty
will link
long,
it.
but coaching at radiantlifebymelissa.com.
All right, we end all of these with a rapid fire 5. I realized 30 seconds before you walked in that I didn't prepare any, and so I have a whole list for us to choose from.
Okay. What's your go-to way to relax after a long day?
I would just say either I read a book or I like to sit in the sauna.
Yeah.
I love like going to the gym and just sitting in the sauna.
Oh, you don't have one at your house?
No.
He just lit up because he wants one.
I want one at our house.
Yeah, he's jockeying for one pretty quick.
Melissa said, our coach said we need a sauna. You heard it. You give advice. You give a lot of great advice, and you help people see this, I'm sure. But what advice would you give your younger self?
You are enough. You are enough. That's it.
Cool.
Guilty pleasure TV show or movie you love?
Prison Break. Watched that so many times,
All
but
right.
I'll still watch it.
Is it a movie? We should watch it.
Show Prison Break.
Oh, I thought it was a movie.
No, it's that show. There's so many different
okay.
seasons, but it's
All right. We got to put that on our list then.
All right. Favorite hidden gem in the local area? Someplace you guys know about or go to that maybe not everyone knows about. This is hard because when we go to places where it's not really a hidden gem, but then no one else, so maybe it is.
Well, because I am Bosnian, I'm going to talk about the 2 brothers. Have you heard of them? No. They bought the pizza place that was right in the corner where Proctor High School.
Okay.
Right in the corner there. And they do a mixture. Like there's pizzas and like American food, but they also offer Bosnian food. 2 brothers, and they actually opened up a spa at the mall.
Okay.
It's not called 2 Brothers at the Mall. It's something different, but it's, Bosnian food. And
let's check it out.
so you want to try it.
If you could bring one new business or attraction to Utica, what would it be?
Oh, it would be my business.
There you go.
Mind, Body, and Soul by Melisa.
There you go.
I want to help women kind of take care of all 3 areas.
Okay.
Melisa Dervisevic.
Yep.
How'd I do?
Good.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. And deep subject, awesome stuff. I hope a lot of people reach out to you and connect. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Love Living Local. As you know, we do not run ads. Our only mission is to shine a spotlight on amazing people doing amazing things here in our local community. If you'd like to support us with this mission, we have 3 ways you can help. You can share our content on social, subscribe or follow the show on your favorite podcast platform. You and you can visit our lovelivinglocal315.com website to stay up to date with everything happening in Central New York.